Hey guys, and welcome to another PixLab Tutorial Tuesdays. Okay, so I'm back here again this week, carrying on with our tutorial series on the day-night cycle / terrain tutorial / water tutorial today, and who knows what else will be coming in the near future. So I showed you guys my water in my last video, and it wasn't really great. And this is the same mesh and the same data that I've been using the whole time, and I'm not all that happy with it. So today I'm going to show you what kind of options do we really have in selecting water for our terrain, and how we can take our little game that we're creating to the next level. So let me just show you what I have so far. This is my water system or water mesh with a little script on it that really only moves the texture on the water very slowly across in a direction. Now there's really nothing wrong with this. It'll work for the most part quite effectively if this was just a scenic piece of water that you never want the player to interact with. However, we do kind of want our player to be able to interact with this at some point or another, and because of that, I'm going to show you guys exactly how we can just step this up a notch and add some more realistic water to our scene. So I literally have the same scene from last week. If you haven't checked out that tutorial, please do so now. I'll add a link on the video and in the description below, as always. Now this was not a recommendation by anybody, but we're going to cover it anyway. So I hope you guys are excited to see what we can accomplish in Unity with the water systems that are available without any work having to be done. Now, if you are one of the people that really just want scenic water and you guys kind of like this effect, and you're not too bothered about the way the water looks, literally you guys can just create a plain mesh, add a basic water texture, and I'm going to show you guys exactly the setup for my water system here. It's a mesh that has a very large area around the island, so that your view or your distance is sort of obscured by the just the extreme distance of the mesh and the size, the scale of the mesh, so you don't really see the edges. It has the basic specular material on it, so it's just a standard reflective or metallic shader attached to it, a basic blue albedo color, and a normal map, which is just the standard, I believe it's a standard water small wave, there we go, small wave texture that comes with the standard assets. And that pretty much worked the way I wanted it to. Created nice sort of just a little bump on the surface, and I quite like it, and creates nice little reflections from the sunlight coming down, which is all great and all good and well. So if you guys want the scenic version, then you guys just rig up a little plane with this basic texture attached to it in a blue albedo color, and then I'm going to show you the script really quickly. It's really nothing fancy. I'll show you. So just wait for this to start up. Okay, so basically what we have going on here is just a very basic class, which is called water, and I have a float, a public float variable called speed, which is set to 0.2 by default. It should be 0.05 by default. That gives you that nice slow movement. And then if we take away the start function, just to clean it up a little bit and save that document, then the update method, we have the float offset equals speed, which is there, times time.time. So that just moves it according to the time value in the scene. Then gets the component, the render component attached to the object. Obviously the script gets attached to the plane. Gets the materials at index 0 and sets the texture offset of the main texture, which is the bump texture, because I didn't set an albedo texture up, to the vector of negative offset and offset, which just basically moves that texture across the plane at a certain speed. Now it's really nothing fancy at all, and I would really not suggest using this in any of your games if you want the players to be able to interact with the water at any point. Now let's talk about something really interesting, and that is that with Unity 5 we actually got a whole bunch of really cool extras that they just decided to include because they were in a good mood, I suppose. one of those is both the old water maps are here for us to use. So I'm going to show you both and tell you about the pros and cons of using both of them. We have water from Unity 3, which is available, and we have the actual Pro water, and we have the water from Unity 4, which was really impressive. It even has coastal foam and even the white caps included in it. Now it really is something that you should have a look at. So I'm going to show you guys this right now. So if you haven't done it yet, you can import the asset by simply clicking right click in your project view and say import new package, and import the environments package. Now along with that, you'll get a whole bunch of things, but specifically you'll get, and I'm going to go right in here to my standard objects, or my standard assets rather, go into environment and go down to water, and you'll get water basic, which is all the little basic models that we had access to in the first versions of Unity 3 and Unity 4. And then we have a folder called water, just water, and if you look in the project view right here, you have water, and then inside of that folder you have one that's called water, which is water 3 from Unity 3 and water 4, which is from Unity 4, of course, respectively. So I'm going to show you water 3 first because it's probably my least favorite one, and I just think I would like to show it to you anyway. So you have two files here. You have Water Pro Daytime, which is water from Unity 3 in daytime, which is very just basically a reflective panel, and it's pretty cool. You've got reflective and refractive options, and they're both really good. And then you have the nighttime version of that, which is a slightly darker, basically a slightly darker field. So I'm going to push them both in here for you, and you can have a look at it. Now honestly, seeing as we're just going to be using the one, I'm just going to use the daytime version instead. So I'm going to drag the daytime water into the scene, position it at 0, 0, 0 all the way through, and you won't really see it because it's really small in comparison to our scene. And if you've been following the tutorial, you know that our scene's pretty big. I think it's something like 2Ks wide or something. So I'm going to just scale it up, and I've actually done this. I think it is exactly 5,000 by 5,000. Then you want to slowly drag it up so that it's above everything else. Now you'll notice that this creates quite a cool little effect. Gives you a reflection, which we could have added to my shader if we wanted to. However, I just really didn't see the point of adding a reflective shader onto that, because again it was a very basic scenic version of our water. So it's pretty nice looking. It gives a nice little blur effect to the water, and I really like it. It's impressive. And if I hit play, you'll notice that it has a slight movement to the water as well. Just let it get started a little bit, and if I zoom in here, you'll notice, let me see, apparently you won't notice anything. Let's just see what's going on here. Alright, you really need to get in there to really see it. But essentially the water is there. Maybe it's not this one that moves, I'm not too sure. But anyway, let's get right back to it. So that creates a very believable water reflection. Again, if you're into the very plain version of it all, then I would suggest using this. This is a very nice looking water if you have lakes, ponds. I wouldn't use this for rivers or oceans though, because it isn't alive enough for that. So okay, let's have a look at the options that we have in the right side here in the script section. Well, we have a water script which is attached to it, and we have an option there for refractive or reflective, and we can also switch to simple. Now simple is really bad looking. I mean, it has the bump map and it's blue, but it really looks so bad in comparison to the graphic standards that have been set in today's just day and age, you know. So I would never use this simple version again. Reflective is really good. It gives you no transparency whatsoever, but gives you the reflectivity which you want, which is pretty cool, but again, it just doesn't feel like what you would expect it to. Now, if you go down there back to refractive, you've got the translucency, which gives you the ocean bed that we've created, which is really cool, and I really like it. Now, right below that, you have something called texture size. Now, you'll notice that our textures are very fuzzy. They don't look really good at all. So if we set this up to 512, you'll notice that the resolution in the reflection gets a lot better. Now, I found that 1024 works best. It gives me high resolution reflections, and maybe this is where I saw the reflections picking up on the map. I'm not too sure. Yeah, they're there. They're slight though, but you can see that there are these sort of movement, just a little bit of movement in the water, in the texture itself, which creates that sort of feeling of it being alive, and I really like that. However, again, this is not my favorite water shader, not at all. Let me just check here. If I switch this out to water daytime to water nighttime, that should give you guys just an idea of what I'm creating here. Yeah, won't let me. Okay, no difference. Let's just see. Yeah, let's just not. Okay, so let's get rid of that, because I'm just gonna tell you right now, you're probably not going to use that one. The one that I'm really excited about, and that is Waterfall, which, again, let's face it, if you really want to put the time into it, you could create something similar to this, and it might not be incredibly good, but it could be very similar to this. However, this gives you a sort of really high quality version of water, and it's immediately available. No work has to be done, no scripting, no creating customized shaders, none of that. You just literally drag it into the scene. We're going to position it at 0, 0, and 0, and then we're going to scale it up. So I've just dragged Waterfall Advanced. I think it's called Advanced. Yes, Advanced, and you have Simple. Simple, don't even look at it, it's pointless. Just go straight to the Advanced version, and then we're going to go and scale it up to 400. Oh, that's too much. What was the setting on here? 50. 50 by 1 on the Y, and then 50 on Z axis. And in fact, let's just make it 40, because I know it creates these funny little things on the sides. Then next thing you want to do is just drag it up on the Y so that you have your actual water at the level that you want it. And then I'm going to show you guys in a second how to set it all up properly. So we're going to go for Advanced, and then in your water quality you're going to just make sure it's set to high, because that'll give you the foam on the coastal areas, which is really cool. So you'll notice that there's this foam that's just coming off of the coastal areas, which I think is really, really cool. And then we want to just drag down. Whoop, no, sorry. Okay, then I'm going to show you what happens if I set this to medium. The foam goes away, but you still have high reflection values, and it's reasonable, it's acceptable. If I set to low, I just have one random plane. And what's cool about this is that you could probably set this up so that the user can select his quality in water, and that would create a sort of performance optimization for people that don't have the best hardware, and they can set the water levels down, or for people that do have all the hardware and can do it all, they can set this right back up again. So now I'm going to play this, and this is where it gets really cool and really looks good too. So here we go, and it's a bit slow on my side. I don't know why. I think I've just got a lot going on in this scene and very little optimization. But you can see the basic effect is that we get some basic coastal foam, which only really is seen in areas where land is peeking through, and then we have slow little ripples on the water, which are also very, very cool. Now, what's interesting to me about this whole setup is that most of the changes that can be made can actually only be made in the shader. There's not much you can do on the script, which I think I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit differently. But you know, again, it's easy, it's simple. You're gonna basically attach it, and that's it. There's no other work for you to do here, and that's pretty cool, I think, in itself. So let me just zoom in a little bit. Here's our little rock pool that we created in the last tutorial, and then you'll notice we have all the textures in the shader area here on the right side. Now I'm just going to scroll down a little bit, and you can just see that here's distortion, you have bump waves, reflection, Fresnel, you have all sorts of just settings, you know, and that's really cool. So here we go, we've got distance scale, we've got shore and edge. So let's check this out. Shore is the second one, and if I set this up to 0.3, then you'll notice I get a little bit more of a shoreline. 0.8, oh, yep, my bad, sorry, 0.8. Okay, so I think it's lower rather than higher, so 0.1, there we go. So there we got a bit more shoreline, and you could probably set this up to 0.05, and you can really get in there and have full control over your scene. I actually think 0.08 is good for our scene. I think that kind of feels really nice. I like it. Okay, so let's zoom back in here a little bit. I'm going to show you a couple more settings on there. Now you'll notice you've got a lot more foam in your scene, so maybe that's not ideal. Let's set that back down to a more reasonable number rather. 0.15 maybe. Yeah, okay, hold up. I think I know what this is. It's the edge that we need to change, maybe. 0. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about everything per se, but I think you can sort of play with these settings until you get something that you do like. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's pretty good. There we go. Back there, 0. Well, let's just change this to 0.15 maybe. Yep, that's pretty good. We have a good coastal line, and then you'll notice that the whole scene sort of just comes alive, and that's at the end of the day is what it's about. It looks really cool. You've got the bit of sort of translucency coming through there, which is really cool. So anyway guys, this was well, not a short tutorial, but a reasonably length tutorial about the water options available to us right now. No work has to be done, and you don't even, you don't have to write custom shaders, you don't have to design the textures. It's all there, you just have to use it, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about. I'm very happy with it. Yeah, like I said, I would not suggest just using the water basic which comes with it, but I'll show you what it looks like. It's really bad, but I will show you. Let's just show you this one more. I'll make it 50 by 50 by 50, and I will just make that one. Okay, so it's a lot more. 500 by 500 by 500. Let's make it 1,000. Sure. Okay, so this water texture was the original water that came with Unity. Was it 2? I'm not even sure. That's when I just got Unity really, and it was really bad. Even by those standards, it was bad. So I would say your best bet is use Unity for advanced water in your Unity 5 project. This may seem kind of strange, because why would we want to use a Unity 4 shader in a Unity 5 system? But bottom line is, there hasn't really been a good Water 5 shader unless you're willing to pay for it, and it's so extensive that to build one from scratch would just be kind of pointless. So I say for now, use this one, and if you're a decent coder or you're reasonably good at doing shaders, then perhaps look at customizing this instead of creating one from scratch. I don't know, I think I like it. I think it's pretty good, and for the purpose of our tutorials here, I think this is a good starting point, at least for you guys. And if you guys do something interesting with this, shader, please do comment below, show some videos, and let's have a look at what you have done with this. So I'm thinking next week we will probably be looking at the cloud system or stars. I know I've been saying that now for 2 videos, but I just felt like I wanted to get water out the way so that you guys could sort of decide what was best for you. On a different note, I would also like to maybe include some modeling tutorials on doing some sort of just random models for this map. So maybe cabins, maybe a shipwreck, I don't know. We'll have some fun with it. If you guys have any suggestions, please comment below. Yeah, again, I just want to say thanks to everybody for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe now. Like and comment below, give us your suggestions. I love to hear from you guys, see what you guys would like to see next. I'm kind of feeling like this is a good tutorial series to stick with. If you guys disagree, you guys want to see something completely fresh, please let me know again in the comments below. Other than that, all I can say is subscribe, and subscribe. We've hit 138 subscribers today. I'm very, very happy with that, and just happy to be able to do these tutorials. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please share it with your friends, and let's get the community built up a little bit more. One more question before I do leave you guys. Would you like to see some CryEngine and Unreal Engine tutorials? If so, please hit me up in the comments below so that I know to start showing you guys these things. I like Unity. I've been using it for so long that it's sort of the norm for me. However, some of these other engines are more powerful when it comes to environments and water systems and all of the above. So yeah, please do hit us up in the comments below, hit subscribe, and keep learning.